Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, The Real Nerd Bash. I am here to talk about the movie Deadpool and Wolverine. As you can see, this is my first YouTube video ever. I never really thought I'd be doing this at some point in my life, but here we are. Ever since I saw the movie Deadpool and Wolverine last night, I kind of thought to myself, I'm like, man, this is something that I really would like to talk about. And so here I am uploading my first YouTube video. I don't know where it's going to take me, but hey, we're going to find out, right? This review will be spoiler free. There will be no spoilers at all. So really, when I try to explain the story, I'm just gonna try to keep it as brief as possible because honestly, guys, the movie when as soon as it starts off, it's already spoilers. like there's, it just starts off right off the bat. It's really hard to explain the story without giving away any spoilers. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna keep it as brief as possible. And we're going to talk about the positives and the negatives of the movie, and then we'll reach to our conclusion. So, to start off with the positives, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. Boy, do they really deliver in this movie. Honestly, and this is just me putting myself in the perspective of general audiences who don't know much about these characters. If you haven't watched a Deadpool movie or a Wolverine movie, if you haven't watched any of the previous X-Men movies and you don't know anything about these characters, honestly, you would still have a great time because Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, they carry this movie on their backs, like literally. It's if it honestly, they are what brings the energy to this film. Their chemistry, whenever Deadpool and Wolverine, when they're arguing, when they're when they're fighting each other, or when they're teaming up, it just works. It works. It's what brings the life into the movie. It's what breathes life into the movie. Really, those two, they watch it for them. If you don't know anything about these characters, if you find out about this movie and you know how we're in a time right now where superhero movies, there's like a huge lore into them that you have to watch this before that, and you have to do your homework or whatever it is. If you're worried about that, don't be worried about that. Not for this film. This film, you could literally go into it and just have a good time. You'll laugh, you'll be thrilled, you'll be hyped up. You're gonna have a good time, and that's one thing I really did like what they did. Now, me, I'm a longtime comic book fan. I've grown up with these characters. I Wolverine is my favorite Marvel superhero, by the way. And so, me personally, I have no problem. What I'm trying to say is that me personally, I have no problem when a comic book movie comes out that has so much lore into it that maybe someone may not understand, but I understand because I know where it's coming from. I know what happened before. I know where, whatever it is. So, me personally, I don't have a problem when a comic book movie comes out that requires you to do homework. But putting myself in the shoes of the general audience, I can understand why they might have an issue with it. They might get lost and everything. But this is just me. This is just me telling you that you can literally go into this movie without doing any homework and you will still enjoy it. Trust me, you will still enjoy this movie. That's only if you're looking for a good time. If you look, this movie does the one thing that it promises you from the trailers. It's gonna give you a good time. It's a good, fun ride. The story is very simple. It's straightforward. It's basically Wolverine and Deadpool have to team up to stop something bad. That's it. There's no, there's no complex storyline. There's no Oscar-winning, groundbreaking Logan type of story. No, this is a really, really straightforward storyline. It's just that this story has two lead characters that will bring the life into the movie, and it also has a bunch of cameos, um, surprising cameos that completely surprised me personally. Now, I know that in the final trailer of Deadpool and Wolverine, I don't know who has seen it, but I saw the final trailer and I was like, dang, like for those who haven't seen the trailer, but you haven't seen the movie, if you really don't want to be spoiled, I really suggest you don't watch the trailer. But I watched the trailer and I was like, damn, like you guys just gave that away. Oh well, but honestly, there's still so many surprises in there. Um, but yes, this movie does a good job in giving you a good time. You will have a smile on your face the whole time. I had a smile on my face the whole time in this movie. I was just grinning as much as possible. The whole time I was grinning. So one thing that this movie does really well, even though it does cater to all audiences, like whether you've catched up on previous Marvel movies or not, but it does feel more like a love letter to the Marvel fans. It really does. And they did it really well. Like I said, the story is very simple. It's very straightforward, but it's the characters that carry the movie. The story is not bad at all. It's really not. It's just it's really easy to remember. It shouldn't be that complicated to comprehend what's going on, really. Um, Another positive I have for this movie is Hugh Jackman. Like it's almost as if he's never left the role. He took a long break. It's been a while since Logan came out, and you can just tell that this guy's just having a good time. He's having a good time playing this character. And in his recent interviews, he did say this is the most fun he's ever had playing as Wolverine. And boy, you can really see it in this film that he's having a good time, even in his dramatic moments. I mean, I don't know. I just got that energy from him that he's just in a he's this is like the most fun he's ever had. And Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson, Deadpool, I mean, you already know. This is his character. He's born to play this role. This is I can't see anybody else playing as Deadpool other than Ryan Reynolds. He just plays that character so perfectly. He kills it. He nails it. And so does Hugh Jackman. This is their characters. I know that at some point they will be recasted, as much as we don't like to hear it, but at some point they're going to be recasted. But it's just hard, to see someone else take up those roles, of Deadpool and Wolverine, because Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, they just absolutely own those characters, and it's such a joy to see in this movie. Another positive I have is the action. Now, the action here was very very well done. When it comes to Deadpool and Wolverine, it's not gonna they're not they shouldn't hold back. If you read the comics, you know that these characters are it's a bloodbath. They're not the type of PG-13 characters. And oh my gosh, yes, all that is here. The action, the bloodiness or the gore factor, whatever it is. I mean, they go all out. Whenever Deadpool and Wolverine fight each other, it's a bloodbath. I was like, I remember when I was watching this in the theater. There was a particular fight scene that was probably like the best fight scene my favorite fight scene in my opinion. This was my favorite fight scene in the movie, but Deadpool and Wolverine were fighting in a car, and it was just so out of control that people in the theater were just like, "What the hell?" But in a good way, like people were just like, "This is insane." It's because you have two characters that they can't die. They can't die. They always heal. So and what do? They slice and dice. They shoot whatever it is their enemies. So it's like you put these two characters together. Of course they're gonna mess each other up, and yeah, they go there. They really do. And it was just like these two fighting each other. It was just it was a crazy fight. I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy to see, but I really loved it. I was very satisfied as a fan. Now, as enjoyable as this movie is, it's not perfect. It's it's great, um, but it's not perfect. So one of the things that kind of bothered me a little bit was I think we all know about this issue that we've had with the MCU for years are the jokes. again, as enjoyable as this movie is, and a lot of the jokes do land, but some don't. Me personally, I really do appreciate comedy, but when it's just nonstop, and I mean like every single second, there's a joke to be told, or or another comedic moment. I kind of get in that mode where I'm like, all right, I need a little break now. I've been laughing for like 10 minutes straight, and some jokes, some jokes do land. No, a lot of the jokes land. Especially there was one scene in particular that I don't want to give away, but there was one scene in particular that it actually had me laugh out loud. Actually had me, I actually laughed pretty hard on that one. But some of them don't land, and I think that the reason why is because for me personally, it was just too much at some point, and then yeah, like after those serious moments, you know, Deadpool will insert a joke, and it does suffer from that. But honestly, it's not it still didn't take away my enjoyment from the film. It's like I said, most of the jokes did land for me. Um, it's just some didn't, but that's just me as a person. As much as I appreciate good comedy, sometimes I do need that little break in between. But like I said, just a little nitpick. But I think that's just a common problem we've all had with the MCU for a while. So but it didn't take away my enjoyment from the film. Another slight negative I have is, as I said, the story is very straightforward. That's also that's also another small problem, is that the story is a little too straightforward. It's not bad, but it's not really memorable if you think about it. It's not like this story is something that groundbreaking. It's a very simple story, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like this is just as a matter of fact, I don't even think these are just negatives. It's just a minor nitpick that I do have. Is that the story is just it's really straightforward and simple. Me personally, I don't mind it too much as long as it's not bad. So for me, the story was not bad. So actually, don't even take this as a negative. Now that I think about it, it's not. It's just a little nitpick. But what helps it is that the story, like I said, it's not a bad story. It's just really straightforward. Um, Now for me, this was a bit of a negative. The villain. I mean, I think we've all had this. Again, another common MCU problem is that the villain is not really all that memorable. Came in, showed that she was powerful, and that's pretty much it. I mean, her intentions were very simple. It's just one of those villains like, oh, the big bad wants to take over, whatever, and that's it. Like I said, it's the actress didn't do bad. She didn't do bad as a character, but it's just the villain wasn't really all that memorable. I just feel like it kind of felt like Deadpool and Wolverine just needed a punching bag. They needed to give them an excuse to do what they're gonna do in their journey. So they're like, oh, let's just put this villain right here. But again, it still did not take away my enjoyment from this movie. This movie is a lot of fun. It does put a smile on your face. It put a smile on my face personally. I had a good time. The fan service was done really well. A ton of cameos. Yes, so many cameos in this film. You will be surprised. A little nitpick I had with this movie with the cameos is that I'm not gonna spoil anything at all. But while all the cameos work and while they were all a delight to see, there's at least like one or two where I was like, it kind of felt like a disrespect to that specific to those specific characters. You're kind of expecting something major, but it just, I guess they just used it for humor. I don't want to say too much without spoiling it. You're gonna see what I mean when you see these films. You're gonna see these cameos. You're gonna be like, oh my god, like this is so cool to watch. And then like a few seconds later, you're gonna be like, oh, like, okay, well, like I said, some cameos worked, as like a good love letter to fans of these characters, while some cameos were just more used as a joke. That's my nitpick of it. But overall, this was a good movie. It was a fun movie. It's actually one of the best MCU movies we've ever had. I really felt like this film should have come right after Endgame. In my opinion, Deadpool, no, Spider-Man, Deadpool and Wolverine, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Loki season two. Those should have been like the post Endgame movies. That's what should have come out right after Endgame. Does this mean that the MCU is back? That it's back on its high horse and it's all in uphill from here? I don't know. It's too soon. It's too soon to say. But do I think that they are headed into a good direction? I believe so. If there's one thing you need to know about me is that I'm an optimistic person. I try to look for the positives in everything when it comes to entertainment. If something does disappoint me, I mean, it disappoints me. But here's how I'm gonna put it: the same care and love that they showed for this movie for Deadpool and Wolverine, if they show the same care and love for their next movies, that same passion they had for this project, if they just use that same passion for the next MCU projects, then we are heading into the right direction. Because this movie really felt like the team behind it really cared. They cared about these characters. They cared so much about Wolverine and Deadpool, and they wanted to deliver us something great. And they did that. They showed in the trailer, hey, you're going to get Deadpool and Wolverine teaming up, and that's exactly what we get. Through and through. Right from the beginning to the end, you see these two characters, and it's just a delight to you see these two characters working together, fighting each other, arguing with each other. Their chemistry is awesome, and it's a delight. And so, I really hope that moving forward, they, like I said, they use that same passion for future projects. Another thing I really liked was the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was really good. Song choices they used for this movie really worked. I really digged it. I thought it was great fun. Another thing as well that I really liked is that these two characters are so different. Deadpool is more comedic. He's more funny. He's more of a goofball. And then you got Wolverine that he's more serious. He's more broken. He's more grittier. He's dealing with his struggles and his past demons. And here's one thing that and this is just something I really liked. Wolverine. So I read somewhere that Hugh Jackman plays a funnier version of Wolverine. In my opinion, Wolverine is not funny. He's not a funny character. He's not throwing jokes, being a goofball. Wolverine is funny in this movie because of the situations he gets dragged into. That's a huge difference. He's a serious character through and through. He's gritty. You can tell this man is living with some really bad trauma. But what makes him funny is the situations that he's dragged into by Deadpool. That's what makes him funny. I saw someone saying that he's like Hugh Jackman is like a funnier version. This Wolverine, he is the Wolverine that we all know from the comics. Serious, gritty, broken, trying to find his redemption. What makes Wolverine funny in this movie is that it's really just, the stupidity he has to deal with. Deadpool is a goofball. And I really like that they did that with this movie. I really like, because that's one of the worries I had. I was like, man, don't get me wrong, Wolverine does have his funny moments, but he's not like, you know, he's not cringe funny. He's not a jokey character. They did that really well with this one. They didn't make him a jokey character, all lighthearted and everything. No, they gave us the Wolverine that we all know and love. But what makes him funny in this movie is that he's dragged into so much crap and he's gotta put up with so much stupidity. It's funny to see that. Honestly, guys, I really enjoyed this movie. It was a lot of fun. It did its job. It put a smile on my face. I had a good time. My theater clapped. Everybody had a good reaction. And like I said, you don't have to watch all the other MCU movies to understand this film, which is something that I really did appreciate for general audiences. Because I try to look at it from their perspective too. Not everybody has read comic books, not everybody has watched the X-Men movies or the Deadpool movies. You'd be surprised. There's some people that they never even like watch a superhero movie. But like, if they're looking for a good time, if you are looking for a good time and you want to have fun and you want to have a good smile on your face, this is a good movie to go to. It's funny, it's action packed, it's very heartfelt. It's got its moments full of heart, and it's got its emotional moments. I wouldn't say tear jerker moments. I didn't really find myself crying, but I did feel like this movie did have a lot of good heart into it. And that's it, guys. That's my review. Do you think the MCU is back? Do you think it's all going to be an uphill from here? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe my channel, and I'll be doing my best to post videos every week. This is something very new for me as well, and I'm excited to, kind of share my thoughts and opinions with you guys. My goal with this channel is to share my opinions, my reviews, my reactions, my thoughts about anything comic book, anime, video game related, and of course anything cinema related, because I do love movies as well. So I'm gonna be doing my best to drop videos every week. You guys have a good day, and again, let me know what you think in the comments. See ya.